Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Neethu. This channel is dedicated for goddess messages. All right, so in this channel we are going to bring collective guidance and messages for our growth, for the expansion of our soul, as well as improving ourselves in the 3D reality, because we really cannot escape our 3D reality. Though we know we are a spiritual being having human experience, but it is inevitable for us to experience being human. That is the whole reason why we have come on earth, right? So we are going to bring messages from goddess in this channel, collective messages for the collective who are on the path of growth, be it spiritual or physical, just growth in general. All right, so let's bring messages for our opening video, or our first video of this channel. So the first thing that I'm getting is we are mostly in our head these days. We have too much of thought. There is a lot going on in our brain, and we are trying to organize or understand whatever happening in our brain. But the guidance that we are getting for this collective, whoever are tuned in to watch the messages, is it is important that we bring everything that is happening in our brain onto the physical reality, which means just writing all of it down on the paper and then decide what has a meaning, what thought has some kind of meaning, and what is kind of just occupying the space in our brain. Because not everything has meaning, not everything is important, not everything that is going on in our brain or in our mind has any relevance, but it is just jam packed and we are not able to understand what is happening. The first thing the goddess is telling us, just write it down on the paper and bring all of it out, pour it all out, so that you can see, you can look at it in your physical eyes, so that you can sort out what is important and what is not, and scratch off what is not important and sit with what is important, and then ask yourself why it is important, and take physical action if at all it is important, or ignore it if it doesn't make sense to you, so that your brain has a capacity to think what is actually important in our life. So that is the first message, or a collective message, that we are getting from goddess, because the mind is what is highlighted in today's reading. Okay, if we are in our mind all the time, this is the solution that goddess is trying to bring to us, so that we can clear the denseness that is going on in our mind and release all of those junk from our mind, to actually free up the space for our intuition, or for the goddess or the higher beings that you work with, to speak to you or to give you messages. The devil energy, this is kind of what we are talking about, excessiveness, something happening in excess, something happening that we feel like we have no control over, but that is not true. It feels like we don't have control over that, because we are kind of succumbing to that idea of we don't have control over that. All you have to do is just come up with your own way of entangling those things, like just what goddess was explaining, like write it all down on the paper, so that your mind is freed. Because devil energy is like running on the treadmill and going nowhere, and it is of no use to anybody, but we want to actually physically go to some other place, but our mind is on the treadmill. So all we have to do is ask a very important and a potent question: why am I on the treadmill, not in the car or in the bus or any other transportation which can actually take me to the next point? Why am I on this treadmill? So that very question will jolt us awake from this trance of this devil energy that is trying to trap us or keep us in place, just giving us the idea or notion that we are doing something, but we are actually not doing much in the situation. So that is what goddess is alerting us, or telling us that yeah, we have to pay attention here, because something has a grip over our mind right now, and just by awareness, just by shedding light on that very thing, is going to help us get that control over ourselves, or at least we feel like we are doing something productive. We have ace of wands, and then three of pentacles Ace of Swords. This is a very beautiful energy. So basically what Goddess is trying to tell us in our opening message or opening video for this channel and for this collective is, nobody can take away your control without your permission. Like, we have swords here, and lot of mind energy that is going on here, but we need some kind of rooted approach to bring back a sense of groundedness. As of now we feel up in the air, so bring some kind of action to the situation instead of thinking it in our mind. So that how it could look like for example, we'll have to lose weight. Instead of marinating in the thought of losing weight, why don't we just get up and take 10 steps instead of sitting with the thought of losing weight? If we have to improve our health, instead of watching podcast which seems like we are taking some kind of important step, but that part is over, we are still, it is still in the mind, but we need some kind of physical action to ground that thought into actual action. So we are done watching podcast. We can continue to watch podcasts or anything to gain knowledge, accumulate knowledge. That is our brain, our mind tricks us into believing that we are doing something productive, but actually we are not doing much. We are only accumulating data, but what can we do to actually improve the very thing that we are trying to overthink about? So the overthinking stops when we actually take the grounded action, like just 10 steps or 100 steps, or just wearing that shoe, the gym shoe or whatever, and actually physically taking action. Even the smallest, tiniest of the action that will ground and help us stop overthinking about the situation. The only solution is action. That is the overall message for our current situation that Goddess is trying to bring this message into our awareness right now. Is the only solution is actually taking action, not sit in the thought process of getting something done but not actually doing it. But our brain is tricking into making us believe that we are actually doing something about it, but we are not. We are just sitting in the idea of it, not taking the action towards that. That is what is creating this overthinking and anxiety in our body, in our mind. All right, so that is the guidance that we have for this collective. It is time for us to take one tiny step and ground our idea into the physical reality, and that is how you overcome that overthinking energy into much more grounded, rooted energy. You'll feel much better and so much good about your idea than just thinking about it over and over and over again. Hopefully that is making sense. It definitely did make sense in my brain. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's meet again with the next message. Until then, love you all. Take care. Bye bye.